Life isn't always serious.
Spider-Man. He has the powers of a spider.
Hence the name.
Gross. Does he look like a spider?
No, more like a man.
Climbs walls, shoots webs.
Yeah, bingo.
Out of his butt?
Like a Garbaldegard? Hit a guy, hit a there.
Despite the terrors of the world, sometimes it can be humorous.
Excuse me, sir! I can help! Let me help! I'm really strong and I'm sticky!
Hello, Steven. Fantastic work. Didn't you guys chart in the 60s?
Uplifting, wholesome, heartwarming even.
It was the night monkey.
The night monkey?
Yeah, that's what it said on the news. And the news never lies.
I'm in love with Spider-Man's aunt. We're sharing, right?
And more often than not, we like to live in a world that isn't so serious, that we can laugh at, that we can carry on regardless of all the burdens and the weights of the world.
What was your name again?
Dr. Otto Octavius.
Wait, no, seriously, what's your actual name?
Be grateful Black Bolt doesn't engage you in conversation.
Why? Does he have bad breath?
Everybody's afraid of something.
Cuttlefish. Deep sea fish. They make lights, disco lights, to hypnotize their prey. And then I saw a documentary, it was terrifying.
However, the MCU is not funny. A big problem that a lot of people have noticed about Marvel movies is how many jokes are really in each, we're gonna say movie, I was gonna say each scene, but let's be honest, that's true. It's like, at this point, every single emotional beat that is hit in any one of these movies has to be undercut by a joke. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, this has been a problem really since the Joss Whedon Avengers film, the first one, where that kind of style of witty banter has kind of taken over the MCU. This makes sense in a movie like Iron Man because of the character of Iron Man, but it doesn't really make sense for a character like Thor even, or, you know, Hulk, Nick Fury is another one. You know, him getting little scratchy scratch from his eye from a space cat or whatever that was. But even in these films about heroes that are inherently kind of funny, they still have emotional impacts, or at least they used to, in my opinion. So why is it that here lately they seem to have lost the sincerity of these films and these characters through shallow humor? Well, and so that got me thinking, what is funny? Let's do my favorite thing and find an excuse to look at what philosophers said about a topic, or and why they said it, more importantly. And a lot of this comes from a single paper that I found on one quick Google search, so I'll link that below, but just look up why funny, and hopefully you'll find this video. But Plato, the most influential critic of laughter, treated laughter as an emotion that overrides rational self-control. In the Republic, he says that the guardians of the state should avoid laughter, for ordinarily when one abandons himself to violent laughter, his condition provokes a violent reaction. Especially disturbing to Plato were these passages from the Iliad and the Odyssey where Mount Olympus was said to ring with the laughter of the gods. He protested that if anyone represents men of worth as overpowered by laughter, we must not accept it, much less of gods. I'm not going to redo that either, I'm just keeping that in. Aristotle actually agrees. Wit, he says in the Rhetoric, is educated insolence. In the Nicomachean Ethics, he warns that most people enjoy amusement and jesting more than they should. A jest is a kind of mockery, and lawgivers forbid some kinds of mockery. Perhaps they ought to have forbidden some kinds of jesting. Harsh words for someone who never saw medieval knights. Oh wait, no, that's jousting. Essentially what we're looking at here is the philosophy of Stoicism. The general idea of Stoicism being that you should control yourself so as to act according to nature. Now, the question is, what the hell does according to nature mean? Because it could be anything if you stretch that definition. Actually, Nietzsche argues this in Beyond Good and Evil, that's what I was reading. Yeah, that's right. I read books with words. Anywho, the idea is simple. You're being funny because you have no control over yourself. Looking at the Bible, our favorite over here mockery is so offensive that it may deserve death. As when a group of children laugh at the prophet Elijah for his baldness, he went up from there to Bethel, and as he was on his way, some small boys came out of the city and jeered at him, saying, "Get along, you bald head. Get along," which is truly, utterly devastating. Damn it, I forgot to turn the volume off. And Elijah knows, as do we all, that if you get mocked by teenagers, that is the worst form of mockery one can experience, which is why he attacked them with 2 she-bears. And by them, I mean 42 children. So shooting down 2,000 years or so, we see not much has really changed when Hobbes's Leviathan describes human beings as naturally individualistic and competitive, which makes them alert to signs that they are winning or losing. So, if our perception of some sign that we are superior comes over us quickly, our good feelings are likely to issue in laughter. And here is where we get to our 3 theories of humor: the superiority theory, the relief theory, and the incongruity theory. So, we understand the first theory, but I think it's pretty clear that doesn't really quite make sense. In fact, Frances Hutchinson wrote a critique of Hobbes's account of laughter, where Hutchinson argued that when we laugh, we may not be really comparing ourselves with anyone. I mean, sometimes we laugh at figures of speech, or in our modern context, memes. There is literally no telling what the hell I'm going to put up there. But 2 other explanations came up as to why we laugh, which is the relief theory and the incongruity theory. The relief theory posits that our animal spirits that traveled through our nerves in our bodies are just anxious about being trapped in our, fleshly containers. So they find any way they can to release themselves. Anyways, the incongruity theory states that something that violates our mental patterns and expectations is what makes us laugh. Basically, if we see a setup that we expect to go one way, but it goes the other way, this can, result in humor, which is essentially setup and punchline. Now, there are many articles on the internet as to why laughing is healthy, and in our modern culture, laughter is kind of seen as a good thing. If at least confined to a certain time and space. You don't want to laugh at a funeral, no matter how much fun you want to put back in it. So why is this? Well, if I had to guess, I'd say the culture itself has shifted towards valuing less self-control, like the Stoics have, and valuing more so self-enjoyment. And, this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but the problem comes when this cultural shift becomes a cultural collapse. Now, humor is subjective, we know that, but is this?
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
Funnier than this?
You guys are so screwed now!
Is this?
To turn over the Iron Man suit would be to turn over myself, which is tantamount to indentured servitude or prostitution, depending on what state you're in. Can't have it.
Look, I'm no expert.
In prostitution, of course not. You're a senator. Come on!
I'm no expert in weapons.
Funnier than this? Okay, but what about this? This must be funnier.
What has the galaxy ever done for you? Why would you want to save it? Because I'm one of the idiots who lives in it!
Peter.
Than this.
Well, yeah, that's what Hulks do. We smash things. Bruce smashes buildings, I smash fourth walls, and bad ending. And sometimes Matt Murdock.
Okay.
Alright, so that's a few examples, but let's be perfectly honest. I didn't need to show you these, did I? No. You already know what I'm talking about. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. The jokes just feel lazier, right? But maybe it's not just the laziness. Perhaps it's the frequency of the jokes. Take Thor, Love and Thunder, for instance. In every single scene, we get like 2 to 6 jokes. And I mean every scene, like a character walks in a room and then walks out of the room. Like, way too many jokes. Like, if the percentage of jokes that you can tell that are funny is 50%, and you tell 4 jokes, then only 2 jokes were bad. But if your percentage is 50% and you tell 162 jokes in 5 minutes, then in 5 minutes I have to subject myself to half of 162 bad jokes. I tried to do the mental math. What is that? 81? Is that correct?
Correct!
The point that I'm getting at is that should not be possible. Not for any single writer, or I guess these Marvel teams have groups of writers, but still, that is a lot of jokes to put into 1 2-hour to 2.5 hour experience. Now, there's a principle in filmmaking, and I can't remember what it's called, but what we're going to call it is conceptual re-standardization. Essentially, the idea I'm trying to give is that there's only so much you can take of one thing at a time, whether that be too much action or too much exposition or even too much comedy. When you bombard an audience with joke after joke, punch after punch, overly long explanation over overly long explanation, it just gets tedious. And more importantly, you start to lose the impact that any one of those things had for an audience. This is why there's a dark night of the soul before the 3rd act. Why there's a calm before the storm. Why there's a decrescendo before a crescendo. It's because, as Syndrome says,
When everyone's
funny.
no one will be.
You need to bring these constantly heightened levels down for these levels to have any sort of impact. Because if they're at the same level and it's a constant high, that looks more level. Anyways, if it's at a constant high level and there's no valley between these peaks, then you're staying at this the entire time. There's no room for a roller coaster of an emotion. There's no room for experience. It's just all stimulus. The audience cannot reset their emotions if they are constantly at a high. They need time for that to bring it back down so that they can experience anything at all, somewhat approximating emotion. But you know what? Maybe it's not just the frequency, but the placement. And I think this is where the MCU fails the hardest. Let's get the clap emojis out. The placement of jokes ruins the emotional journey of the film. Thanksgiving, clap back. Again, going back to Thor: Love and Thunder, I really have a nose to pick with this film. The story of a man who had one true love, lost his love due to his work life, gets a second chance to be with her, after they've, figured out a way to live their professional lives together, and then has to lose her all over again, but for good? This is treated like a joke. What, Carl? How's this treated like a joke? That's what you look like in my head. The story is treated like a joke because it can't throw one genuine feeling at you without also undercutting it with a ha-ha funny line of dialogue. And look, I understand what you're gonna say. Well, Kyle, the movie's a comedy. Of course it's gonna tell jokes. Okay. Let's try this. Let's try this. What do you call extra vegetables? Asparagus. Pretty funny, right? Mid. What do you call extra vegetables? Asparagus. Pretty funny, right? What do you call extra vegetables? Asparagus. Pretty funny, right? What do you call extra vegetables? Asparagus. Pretty funny, right? What do you call extra vegetables? Asparagus. Pretty funny, right? Telling jokes for 2 hours is not funny. It's annoying. It's not quirky. It's moronic. It's not a story. It's
Trash, Brock.
There's a reason stand-up comics tell stories for an hour that lead to jokes and not the other way around. Because if a guy stood up on stage and told knock-knock jokes for an hour, you would throw a beer at him. Or if you're this woman saying you didn't vote for Trump, then you would also have a beer thrown at you. But I don't know why they did that. And look, I know our modern culture is just so afraid of genuine emotion because, oh, that's lame or stupid or something. Or I don't know, maybe it's the fact that we all feel so damn inadequate in every single way that if we showed anything that was slightly under the skin, that wasn't baked under 153 levels of irony, then we would be totally and fully rejected. Or at least we think that. And I don't know, maybe that's why we can't allow ourselves to be vulnerable in any situation whatsoever. Either way, films should not be afraid to be vulnerable. They are supposed to be human stories. Well, think about it. What's more relatable? Seeing a character who has feelings of inadequacy rise up against them and save the day or do the good thing or win or succeed in the end? Is that more relatable than someone who, you know, can only talk through memes and does nothing with their life? Well, maybe that is more relatable, but still, not fun to watch. So with all of this, where does this leave us? Well, I want to pose another theory that I think could explain how comedy should work in a movie, or more specifically, an MCU movie going forward in the future. More specifically, I want to theorize how to tell jokes in superhero films that will not only have a higher laugh to no laugh ratio, but also doesn't detract from the film itself. We'll call this the film theory. Wait, nope, that one is taken. That one's taken. How many subscribers does Film Theory have? Couple more than us? Let's get us to there. Let's get us there, guys. By the way, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment. What the hell do you think? What do you think I'm about to say? Don't skip ahead of this. Anyways, like, subscribe, comment, go watch our other videos. We do a lot of content like this, and we got more on the way. Here's what we'll call this theory. Tell a memorable story, you hacks. Theory. There are 3 parts of this theory. Part 1. A joke must make the character feel superior to others, cause an uncontrollable laugh upon first hearing it in either the characters or the audience, or violate the mental patterns or expectations of the characters and or the audience. That's pretty simple. That's just follow the 3 theories that we laid out. Part 2. A pattern of jokes or a humorous scene needs to encompass a conceptual re-standardization for the audience before the start of another pattern of jokes or humorous scene. Part 3. A joke cannot betray the genuine emotion the character must feel. The scene must convey and or the film must possess. And that's it. That's my theory for how to tell good jokes in a Marvel movie. And I'm sorry that I just shit all over Thor for however long this video is, specifically Thor Love and Thunder. I don't think it's not warranted, I just said I'm sorry. But yes, if you could like this video, subscribe, and comment. Let me know what you think about this. Ha! Sorry, I don't know why I yelled, but someone keeps sending me memes on Instagram. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. And hopefully I won't do another MCU video after this, or at least the next video that I do won't be an MCU video. I'm getting tired of talking about it. Like I was going to say in my last MCU video, Phase 4 sucks. Yeah, this was filmed before we saw Black Panther 2, which I believe is the end of Phase 4. So I don't know if it's going to be any better, but as of now, yeah, it sucks. I don't like it. It's bad. I rewatched Phases 1 through 3, and it wasn't as good as I remembered it, but it wasn't as bad as this. Yeah. Bye now. How dare you touch the son of Odin!